displaying lies within the cognitive mind, within the theoretical conceptual based mind. That possibility for lies doesn't exist on the emotional spectrum. And that's why I say it's a bit simple, because if you look out at the society, you see that people don't display emotion very much. You can think back to a period in your life where people were exuberant and yelling and screaming and, displaying all kinds of emotion. And if you look out now, at least when I look out, I don't see very many displays of emotion. And that's all people, that's all that anybody needs. Anyone that's a true human, that's organic, soul, spirited human, has simple needs, and those simple needs are to be able to express emotions. But since we've been brought up in the upside down realm, we are taught that the mental aspect of yourself is the most important. You are taught cognitive ways of perceiving the world, and this is done through books. When you're reading, you're ingesting brain material. You're ingesting sort of neural food via concepts, which are words. But emotions don't fit within that framework. And emotions, as far as energetic currency go, they are the most valuable currency that exists. But nobody says that. That's not something that is advertised in the realm. In the realm, it's advertised that things like nice cars, prestige, status, having property, having pull in your community, being an entrepreneur, all these things are advertised as being sort of desirable traits to have as a human, whereas, truthfully speaking, the most valuable resource there is emotion. And every one of us that has been traumatized, which is every one of us, myself included, we have learned how to turn it down, like turn down the volume. Not just because we don't want people staring at us, but because there are other factors involved as far as you putting out a sort of radar, a beep, you're putting out a signal, wah, 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 right? And then you may attract certain situations that you don't want or that you don't like. Or being too emotionally volatile. But if you're not expressing those emotions, if you're not given an opportunity, or you're not giving yourself an opportunity to express that, the emotion stays in, right? It stays inside of your body, unexpressed, inexpressed, and it poisons you from the inside out. That's why if you see people who are very repressed and suppressed emotionally, then many times they have accompanying health problems. In my opinion, almost all of the health problems that people have in the realm are caused by emotional suppression and anxiety. if I were to think along those lines for a couple minutes, I would say everybody that's around, that their mind is still working for the most part, and they're not totally co-opted and trained, and they're not, nefarious agenda. They're not some two-faced character hiding behind the guise of spirituality so they can pop a little demon attack on you, etc. Just the genuine people out there who are feeling isolated. Just everybody get together in a big room and talk about your feelings like a bunch of girls, right? There's a reason why girls do that, and there's also a reason why the society has put a negative connotation from the male perspective on getting together and talking like a bunch of girls and talking about your feelings. There's a reason why when a guy hears that catchphrase, he laughs. He's like, haha, they're talking about their feelings, right? Because it's been negatively connotated. But most men haven't felt their true feelings, including myself. I've been numb for a long time. I can express them now, somewhat, occasionally, not in front of most people. But once you decide or feel that it's time to reclaim your own sovereignty over your own emotions, it's tough to release that shield that you put up. And most of us have very, very thick shields that need some sort of very strong catalyst to help dissolve them. But most of the men in the society are hiding behind an ice wall, or the heart is hiding behind an ice wall, which was necessarily erected due to all of the trauma that has happened. But the solution is simple. It's not complicated. All anybody ever needs is a genuine human being to sit down and actually listen to them, actually give a shit, like actually care. A lot of people talk to each other and they're not actually caring. It's like Ashley was saying in one of her recent Facebook videos. People are communicating with each other, but it's a parasitic relationship rather than a symbiotic one, which just leads to more angst on the behalf of the one who's being parasited, and the one who's doing it is simply basically eating, like how we eat breakfast and then lunch and then dinner and we have some energy, like that's what they're doing. And it's come to a very unbalanced way. The realm has obviously had to go through something very severe in order for that sort of dynamic to have to arise in the first place. Anyway, everybody get together. Maybe I can do a live session, like a roundtable Zoom session at some point, and just be like, anybody who wants to get on here and sit around the round table, and we can go around and basically say how we feel and say talk about our feelings like girls. And I promise you'll feel like 1,000 times better afterwards.